Hello and welcome to the Chill Bill podcast, your weekly dose of all things money and financial in nature. I'm your host Leona.
And I'm Sujit, and it's our pleasure to take you on this journey of learning and discovery where we talk about different topics in personal finance. And over the course of the next few weeks, we'll be covering different topics, some of which we've already planned for, some of which are from your suggestions and your queries. And we hope you find this series as interesting as it goes episode by episode.
So on the last episode, we covered how do I build a habit of saving? And this week, our topic is where does my money really go? Because I'm saving. Okay, I know I'm spending on expenses. But where does it go? What do I do with it? How do I track it?
See, this is a common refrain that happens, like I'm earning and the money is coming into my bank account probably on the 26th, 27th or 28th of the month. And suddenly, before I know it, it's already gone. Where does it go? Obviously, there are many pockets for it.
Yeah, you just open your PDF document of that credit card statement at the end of the month and you're like, oh, no.
See, what happens is you have to ensure that you have certain amounts of money at the end of the month for yourself as part of your saving. And if you refer back to the first episode, we had already told that the important thing you do is whatever happens before you pay your bills, pay yourself first. And this is a very interesting concept because unless you pay your bills, unless you pay yourself first, you may not have anything left to save after you pay your bills. So let's put this into perspective and think of an example. Suppose you get 5,000 dirhams as your monthly salary and you know that you are going to have expenses of around at least 3,500 dirhams. You have 1,500 dirhams left.
So pay yourself.
No, as in keep that amount aside first.
Saving.
Like there is an example where and we will cover that story in the later episodes on compounding, where simply taxing yourself 10 or 20% of your salary every month. Imagine that is a part of tax. That is a self-imposed tax. If you manage to cut 20% of your salary every month and put it in a place where you don't have access to a debit or a credit card or a checkbook, over time that will build up as a corpus. It's not the smartest way to keep your money safe because you won't earn much of interest in this country, but it's at least better than getting spent and not having anything at the end of the month.
True.
Because otherwise you will not have control, and it's most recommended for novice savers and novice investors because until we get that discipline of saving ourselves, that is the first thing to do. So you can fix that percentage, whatever it might be. Ideally, maximum of 20%, that is enough. At whatever salary levels you're at, you cannot survive on more than that. A minimum of 10%. Base at least 7 to 8%.
Okay.
So you do that, pay yourself first. That's called paying yourself first.
So paying yourself not literally by, using that money apart from your expenses, it's just keeping it aside for savings for a later date.
For a later date or for a later goal-based purpose.
Yeah.
And the main thing is you need to have this in an account where there is no checkbook or there is no card or any withdrawal possibility at all.
Or you can keep it in the second drawer of your clothes cupboard.
I wouldn't recommend doing that. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you have mischievous siblings. You may not find it there in the drawer afterwards. So I don't believe in doing that. It's always better to keep it in the bank. Because there is something with money. The moment you know you have access to it, it's sort of like knowing that there are cookies in the cookie jar in the cupboard. You will reach out, you will go to it.
Yeah.
So even for me, when I run my own business, the first thing I do is before I spend on any of my bills, I pay myself first. By doing that discipline over the last 5 years, I've been able to get a decent corpus. Had I waited until all my bills are paid, I probably would not have had the savings that I have today. So the first thing is to build a corpus by paying yourself first. Set a mandatory tax on whatever you earn. That percentage you can decide according to your comfort. Number one. And nowadays it's very easy to open accounts, especially personal accounts. There are many online banking facilities also. Banks which have accounts which are purely online. They are iBanking accounts where they don't issue a checkbook, debit or credit card.
Okay.
It's just for putting it away until the purpose comes on a particular day. So you can choose any of those. We're not going into bank names in specific or product names in specific because we don't believe this to be an endorsement podcast. It's only an information and educational one. But if you write into us, we can actually help you out with certain names on a case-to-case basis. So that's the first thing you need to do. Pay yourself first. Set a particular percentage.
Yeah.
Then the second biggest culprit of where does your money go is the impulse purchase department.
But then you also have this whole FOMO going on, fear of missing out. Like my friends are going out.
Right. There's no doubt.
Same thing what we covered in the first episode of, you want to make use of the best years of your life because you have so many places to travel. I mean, with Corona, I think that will go to an extent. But
there are two things here. One is you need to play the cycle smart. Meaning that in America, and I know this from fact because one of my father's colleagues, he's an uncle in his late 60s now, and he's extremely sharp at using discount coupons for retail purchases. And what he does is if it's winter season, he buys summer clothes.
Yeah.
Because they're off season, right?
Yeah.
And they get all these retail coupons like Macy's and Bloomingdale's and all that. And because obviously summer will come again.
Yeah.
And he's not someone who feels bad because he's not wearing the latest collection or anything like that. For him, clothes are more of a utilitarian purpose than a fashion statement. So by doing that, he probably is able to buy 3 pieces of apparel as opposed to the price of 1 in an off season. And Dubai is famous for this. We have a lot of clearance sales. And, a lot
There's
of
always some other
shops shutting down or whatever. You just have to keep your eyes open. This is the land of sales. But the judicious buyer should know what is a sale which is meant to trigger your emotion and what is really a sale which has discounts and throwaway prices. If you're able to make that little differentiation, I think even impulse purchases can reward you. Staggering it up is if you make the purchases on a credit card which have cashback and loyalty points and rewards and all that, that becomes a double whammy. And if you know how to play the cycle, very few have mastered that trick, but if you know how to play that cycle well, your purchases could end up paying for you more than you spending on them. So that is the second avenue. Having said about credit cards, the main thing is also you need to understand that the banks are usually smarter than the consumer and there are a ton of hidden charges. If something looks too good to be true, it might be too good to be true.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a regimen wherein you aggressively read all the terms and conditions. Please do not make it like a end user license agreement that we used to when we install Windows. Nobody reads all the terms and conditions. We just press next and install. Same way the ordinary banking documents are between
just
6 and
the pages and sign.
6 and 20, 30 pages long. So it's just flip the pages and sign.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why they are below 8 point in font. They don't want you to read it.
Read it, exactly.
So don't be in a hurry. You're making a decision of your life. That piece of plastic could give you...
And free for life card, please.
Correct. If you're not good enough with a free for life card, it could free you from life itself. Like I've had a lot of people who have taken desperate steps and gone into dire measures. Plastic looks very innocuous. It's an extremely dangerous thing to have if you don't know how to control it. And then lastly, one thing is with most of us as millennials, we have... something called the curse of procrastination. So we prefer to enjoy the high life and pay the minimums alone. And for anyone who's been in that rigmarole, the quagmire of paying credit card bills at the minimum, you must know that the interest rates in this country are the highest among any of the countries in the world. So there's no way you're going to beat the bank. It's like playing against a casino.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's always engineered to make you lose. So do not pay the minimum. Give a standing instruction.
Of paying the full amount in the month. Yeah.
Exactly.
Unless you get a 0% interest, but then that...
Then see, that also is not free because they will take upfront charges to set it up.
Okay.
There is a fee to set up.
Yeah.
And there is an early foreclosure charge also.
So if you pay it before...
If you pay it before, then also... So bank is very smart. Whether it's 0% interest or not, they will charge you something in terms of the fee that they take in the beginning. And if you want to get out early and be free, that also they will charge you. So they charge you in the beginning, they charge you in the end.
But then all these electronic stores these days, everyone have these 0% 12-month installment plans.
That is all good, provided 3 things are fulfilled. 1, your job remains.
Yeah.
2, your income levels remain constant or it increases, not decreases. Because now we've seen with Corona, a lot of people's income has come down.
Yeah, this is a percentage cut in the salary.
And number 3, you maintain discipline and your memory doesn't fail you. Like it has happened even to the best of people. Like for example, a couple of months ago, my credit card bills always fall due on the 6th of a month.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine, I will pay it on 6th, Why should I pay it until the 6th?
Yeah.
I kept delaying until 4th, 5th and all. Something happened and on the 6th I forgot. Morning of the 7th, or even like say, I actually realized after 12 o'clock because I sleep late. At 12:05 after midnight, 5 minutes after midnight on the 7th morning, I made a payment. But I logged in, I saw they had already charged me 250 dirhams late payment charges. So what this entire industry is thriving on is the fact that you will forget. Or it's simple, you will forget and they will get. That's it. Or you will not have means to pay and then they will later on extract. So you need to ensure that your memory doesn't fail you, your employer doesn't fail you, and your income levels don't go down. Otherwise, this can be a very risky and dangerous game to play. The higher amounts you take, the more is the risk at stake.
Okay.
So you should not play. So these are principally the areas where your money goes.
So always give a standing instruction to pay full at the end of the month.
And also, if you remember the SSIDE, one question you might be having in your mind is what to do if I come across a non-planned emergency which I did not foresee. Then you pull out from your emergency fund, but you don't pull out from your running income. That is what the emergency fund is for. So if you do all these things, I don't think your money will
And then you
disappear
refill the emergency fund with the same impress system of, putting in how much you took out.
Exactly. So, or even adding more than what you took out. So that will see you tide over time.
We'll go into the emergency fund in detail in the next episode.
Yes, that's what we intend to do. We will also give you the ratio of what is ideal and what kind of emergencies qualify for treatment of payment and savings under the emergency fund.
Okay.
Because just because something got released as a new brand of electronics or a new brand of apparel is not an emergency. Even if you are a compulsive retail shopper, that is not an emergency at all. Emergencies fall under a different category. So that's all from our end on this episode. Then now Leona will go ahead with the customaries regarding the social handles, and you can always reach out to us and connect with us on different platforms. We'll be happy to see you in a forthcoming episode. So handing over to Leona to complete the closing formalities.
Thank you for listening in. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter. If you have any questions, you can email us at askchillbill@gmail.com. That is askchillbill@gmail.com. Thank you. This is Leona signing off.
And this is Sujit signing off until we meet you in a brand new episode. Bye-bye and take care.